Hey, Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, the mask mandate takes effect as a legal challenge is filed in court. The KHSAA is planning on playing sports this fall, and I'll go one-on-one with Senate President Robert Stivers. All that and more is next on Hey, Kentucky. Welcome into Hey, Kentucky, along with LEX 18 Sports Director Keith Farmer. It is Friday. The weekend is almost here.
So glad to have one here. Yes, much needed after a long week.
It's been a long week, and now we're going to be wearing masks because the new mask mandate went into effect at 5 p.m. today, just hours after Attorney General Daniel Cameron filed a motion in court asking a judge to consider if Governor Beshear's executive order regarding masks complies with state law. Cameron, along with Senate President Robert Stivers, who will join us in our next segment, and Speaker of the House David Osborne, released a letter together condemning the mandate, calling it arbitrary and overbroad, and criticized the governor for not working with them on developing public policies that protect public health during this pandemic while respecting the constitutional rights of Kentuckians. The letter went on to bring up several lawsuits that the Beshear administration has lost in court over COVID-19 restrictions. During his press conference yesterday, Beshear made it clear he's not happy about the mandate either.
I'd hope that we wouldn't have to get to a point where we mandated things. I'd hope that we'd all be willing to do the right thing. But I think that the amount of time that we've dealt with this, our anxiety, cabin fever, all of it's added up. But it's time to get serious. I want to see how well we can do in 30 days. It's going to be enforced by local health departments and others. And it's going to be as simple as if someone won't wear a mask in your place of business, then they cannot be served. It's that simple.
The mask mandate comes as the business community is asking for liability legal protections like those the legislature passed for companies producing PPE at the end of the 2020 legislative session. 50 lawsuits related to the pandemic have already been filed in Kentucky, and members of the business community say that an onslaught of pandemic-related lawsuits there could be more coming in that could hurt economic recovery. I think for all of us, Keith, who are wanting to get things back open, want things like football to happen, we've got to wear our masks.
I mean, that's what they've come down with. The CDC and the WHO have all said, this is what's going to help. They've shown videos. I don't understand why people are still fighting it so badly. I mean, I can understand to some effect, but I feel like their kids acting like they're being told what to do and they're just trying not to do it. And as far as Daniel Cameron goes, I feel like they're a bigger fish to fry. Let's, go after some other bigger things than worrying about wearing a mask for 30 days.
It's 30 days. 24 states have mask mandates in place already. So I know Kentucky's constitution may be a little different, but this is not something that's unique to us. People are trying to do it everywhere.
Yeah.
So, all right, unemployment woes continue here in the state. Between March and June, around 550,000 people filed new claims for unemployment insurance benefits, with nearly 75,000 people still waiting for those benefits. The governor talked with LEX 18's Nancy Cox about that.
Now, what we've seen in unemployment is the perfect storm of what happens when you starve a system. Roughly 2.5, 3 years ago, the former governor eliminated half of our unemployment offices and let go of 90-something people that were processing claims.
But at that time, our unemployment rate, Governor, was one of the lowest in the country. Were those offices not needed?
Well, but when you starve a system, when things are good, you don't have the people in place when things are bad. A safety net is something that has to be invested in. For example, the system that is supposed to process claims was put into place in the year 2000. It needed to be replaced, 5, 7 years ago, and it didn't happen. But you know what? That's why we are where we are. It's my job to fix it moving forward. And yes, we have made a lot of steps.
Josh Benton, Deputy Secretary for the Education and Workforce Development Cabinet, says the office has processed 90% of claims and paid out $2.9 billion since March. Benton also says that the Kentucky Unemployment Insurance Fund has run dry and the state has taken out a zero-interest federal loan to pay out claims. And Keith, that's going to keep continuing because People are still going to be needing unemployment. There hasn't been this surge of new jobs that have come back.
No, not at all. People are still without jobs, and it's going to be that way for some time. And, you know, I'm glad Nancy really pressed the governor on that, because, you know, he has said that it's been somewhat his fault for not having things in place, not getting things done in time. And so, you know, now all of a sudden he's turning around and he's saying, well, it was the administration before me. So I do feel like that they were slow to move on this. They seem to have a lot of people in place to help these people out, and really didn't get things moving until people started coming in and to Frankfort and standing in those long lines. So I'm glad that they are finally, it appears, getting things started in the right direction.
Absolutely. All right, we're getting a new look at the events that led to Breonna Taylor's death during the execution of a no-knock warrant at her home. Attorneys for Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, have provided the Courier-Journal with copies of the full Public Integrity Unit interviews conducted almost 2 weeks after Taylor was killed. The interview is with LMPD Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, one of the officers involved. Mattingly said that Taylor's home was a, quote, soft target with minimal threats, and that Taylor was likely home alone. Mattingly said he was unsure why the warrant was requested as a no-knock, but that he was then told to knock and announce himself. He told investigators they waited, quote, more than enough time for the average person or even a disabled person to get to the door, end quote, before deciding to force entry. The no-knock warrants could soon be a thing of the past here in Kentucky. Lawmakers have filed a bill in Frankfort that would eliminate them, except in specific conditions and only as secondary warrants. The bill is in the Senate and has bipartisan support. I think no-knock warrants are going away, Keith. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But Kenneth Walker definitely tells a much different story. Even on the 911 call, he did not think that police made themselves known.
No, obviously not. And I mean, you can read through what he's saying, but some people say they were asleep, but he says they were watching a movie. Who knows how loud they had that turned up, and all of a sudden you hear something, you think it's an intruder that's busting into your house. So that's the story he's telling, and obviously they, you know, originally charged him, and then they went back and dropped those charges on him, and for good reason.
Yep. All right. Here's some good news, Keith. The Kentucky High School Athletic Association met with its Board of Control Friday, setting more dates for schools and sports going forward. The biggest was an August 3rd date for mandatory practices to begin, which in a normal year would start on July 15th. The only sport that will be allowed to start sooner is golf, which will have some spectator limits. They will be able to start July 15th, with competition starting as early as July 31st. As far as other sports starting competition, the KHSAA plans to see what happens in the next 2 to 3 weeks and come up with guidelines by early August. Keith, there was nothing set in stone, but there can't be. And they have to remain flexible. Yeah. Julian Tackett's in a really tough spot, you know, trying to balance between everybody wanting there to be sports played and then the safety of everyone.
Yeah, he said he believes that there will be fall sports, but you're right. They have to take it carefully, and so they've got a little time to play with here. They're going to look at these next couple of weeks and see how things go and see if we're able to start. But now the one thing that worries me is if you've pushed back your mandatory time from July 15th to August 3rd, that's not a lot of time to get ready for a first game on, I think it's the 21st, somewhere in there. So now you're looking at probably starting much later with your football season.
And we have learned that there's a football player that's tested positive and a volleyball player that's tested positive, both in the city of Lexington. So they are handling that with proper protocols. Now in Hey Kentucky, in case you missed it, a review of recent headlines. The Kentucky Department of Education has named its new commissioner. Jason Glass was the superintendent of Colorado's second largest school district. Glass is a Kentucky native and a UK graduate. And in Louisville, turnout was up significantly in majority black precincts compared with the 2016 and 2019 primaries, but still lag behind turnout in majority white precincts. And the company behind Lexington's Two Keys Tavern is filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The bar has been around for more than 60 years, and owners hope bankruptcy will allow them to continue serving Lexington in the future, even if it's at a different location. Stick with us. My interview with Senate President Robert Stivers is up next.